This is my submission for the Explain Your Acoustic Instrument assignment for music technology. I will be explaining the saxophones, which in this case I'm using an alto sax, but my explanation will apply for all saxophones. The saxophone is a wind instrument, meaning it creates sound using the performer's breath. And within that, the saxophone is a reed instrument, meaning that the first part of the instrument, the mouthpiece, generates the sound. So when the performer blows air through the mouthpiece, it allows the reed here to freely vibrate against the mouthpiece, with which there's a small gap between the two. And this reed vibrates up against the mouthpiece and creates sound. For example, very high pitched, but still indeed sound. This sound is carried and amplified by the mouthpiece because it's created in the reed and then travels through the mouthpiece and into the rest of the instrument. The saxophone itself, the neck and body, help generate pitch, or help control the pitch. So for example, you can change the pitch of a note or of the sound by pressing different buttons on the saxophone. For example, B, which is just this first finger, or D, which is these first three and these second three. The way this change in pitch works is the sound comes from the mouthpiece and the reed and resonates through the body of the instrument. This instrument has many holes in it, as evidenced by the many different keys, which allow the sound to escape through those holes. The more holes you press down, the longer the tubing of this instrument becomes and the more material the sound has to resonate against in order to produce sound, causing it to become deeper. So for example, if I'm going to walk down, starting on C sharp with nothing held down, and then walk down to B, A, and G by pressing continuously more fingers and covering up more holes, it creates this. Which you can hear the sound audibly dropping. The sound gets even lower whenever you add the second hand in. The sound of the instrument can be taken even higher through use of a key in the back called the octave key, which opens up this hole up at the top in the neck piece, which allows air to escape up there while allowing it to also resonate through the rest of the instrument, causing the sound to become higher but still sound, and still be controlled by the amount of fingers you have held down. So for example, I'll play D, and I'll play D with the octave key, causing it to go up. There are even more keys on the sides that cause the sound to go up or down further. For example, the side keys right here, played with your palm, open up it even further. So whenever you're holding down the octave key and press down one of those keys, it generates a note such as D, E, or F. These side keys, with your pinky down here, control these holes on the bottom of the instrument, or close to the bell, that would cause the tubing to become longer, making the note deeper. So if I were to play C, which is all of these 6 fingers and one of the ones down here, it can be lowered by using one of these, causing the further tubing to be lowered, or the tubing even further to be increased in length. The longest you can create the tubing is by playing a B flat, which is all 6 of these notes, or all 6 of these keys, your C, and then this pink key here, which creates B flat, which closes every single hole in the instrument except for the bell, which allows the sound to be the deepest it can be on this instrument. Basically, to recap, the sound on the instrument is generated in the mouthpiece with the reed by blowing breath over it, and then it travels to the instrument and changes pitch depending on how much the tubing is adjusted by pressing down keys. So it's highest if there are keys close to the top open, or less keys open, or less keys closed, and lowest if you close more keys. And that is the basics of how a saxophone generates sound as a reed instrument.